everybody and welcome to Thirsty Thursday, and a really exciting Thirsty Thursday is. My name's Claire and I'm a designer for Thirsty Brush and a guest presenter on Create and Craft TV. So as I say, today is super exciting and I'll tell you why in just a few minutes. But what I'm going to do is show you a little video just while I prep for the demos and to show you some brand new products. Stay tuned. And welcome back. So super cool things to show you. Just before I do, one really important piece of news is I'm going to do a giveaway of all the new products that we're launching today on this show. So to enter the giveaway, what you need to do is subscribe to the Stamps by Me YouTube so you get updates from me and Tony on these demos, and put a comment under this stream here. Anything you like, doesn't have to be a certain thing. Tell me if you like the products, tell me if you like the demos or the samples that I'm going to show you from the design team. And about 3:30 or after the first demo, we're going to draw somebody out of the hat and give them one of each of these new products. So I hope you'd like to see them because I'm so excited to show you. So if I can show you what's on the table here. So they are embossing products, embossing powders, inks and accessories. So, and they're called Luminosity. So that is our range of embossing powders, inks and accessories now. So everything will be called Luminosity. And the reason it's called that is because it gives you the most incredible extreme shine on these powders. They are super fine. They will pick up all your detail on all your stamps. And there are other ways to use them as well, not just stamping, that I'll be talking about and showing you throughout this show. And they have got built in, which is really important, some anti-static already built into the powders. So what that means is that it really kind of clings to where you've stamped and not anywhere else that you don't want to, even the side of your pot and things like that. I would, however, still recommend, and I'll talk through this as we're doing the demos, that you use an anti-static bag, because it is really handy for if you've got any moisture on your card or you get any oils from your fingers and things like that. But we'll cover that. If you haven't used embossing before, oh my goodness, this is what is going to take your stamping and your card crafting to the next level. In fact, it's one of the first things that I saw at a craft show, and somebody was demonstrating it on their stand, and I just thought, this is brilliant. This is exactly the kind of look that I want for my cards. So I'm going to show you how to do that too. So the powders themselves, they come in these two trios. So you've got a metallic range, and that is it's called Gold Digger, Silver Lining, and Rosy Gold, which is this beautiful kind of peachy, pinky, metallic colour. And then you have a second trio, and they're called True Black, Pure White, and then there's a clear. I've done it on some pattern paper here. So I don't know if we can get in just a little bit closer, just so I can show you. You can see pretty well, but even closer you'll be able to see the extreme luminous shine that you're getting from those powders. They are absolutely amazing, and even the design team themselves, who've used, very experienced, and they've used loads of powders themselves in the past, have said brilliant. They are really, really shiny. So just to talk a little bit about the pot that they come in. So because I said that anti-static is in the pot, in the powder, you need to keep them in these. Don't decant them into something else. If you're experienced at embossing, you've ever done kind of mixing and things like that, just wait till you've got a spare one of these at least, so you know that they're in the proper pot. You have got a little shaker thing if you want, but I tend to keep it in because I like to pour lots. If you do use the shaker, make sure you keep this inner part, because otherwise you're not going to be able to travel with them, which is why I'm just going to keep mine like that. So each one is 15 ml, and then you've got the colour on there as well, so when you're running low you'll be able to top up via our website. Let's have a look then of the things that you need to go with your powders. So there's a specific technique to use in embossing powders, which we'll use in the demos. So if you haven't used them before, you'll need an embossing ink pad. So this will be available from today as well. Everything's on the website now if you do want it. And this is like a clear ink pad, almost like a sticky, not quite a glue, but a sticky clear ink. So that means you can put it onto things like paper, card, vellum, I've even embossed on things like glass and wood, things like that as well. So you'll need an embossing pad, especially if you're using stamps. You can also use the re-inker, so you can buy this separately. Of course you can use it to top up your pad. It is super, super juicy, but we never want to run out of anything, do we? So it's handy to keep one of those in. But you can also use this. I like to put a little bit on my mat and then use a soft watercolour brush and actually paint this re-inker, say for a background. When you sprinkle your powders on, you'll get a lovely metallic or shiny, depending on which colour you use, background for you to then build your flowers or your die cuts over. So that's re-inker and pad. And then the last thing in the set in the range, is the embossing pen. So that's dual ended. You've got a brush nib on this end and a bullet nib on this end, and you also get an extra little pot of the Gold Digger. So it is the same as the gold in there, but great if you're just starting off with this. Lots of people say to me when I ask them if they've got an embossing pen, they say, I can't do brush lettering or hand lettering. And I say it's not just for that. You can add some beautiful detail to your makes, and again we'll be using that in one of the demos. And then if you do like to try a bit of brush lettering, fantastic, but you can do it with lots of detail, and it's also a great corrector. If you do miss a bit when you're stamping with the embossing pad and you only realise after you've heat set it, you can use that little bullet nib to kind of fill in any gaps and correct your mistakes, and nobody will know the difference. So the best way for me to show you these powders is to do a demonstration and show you the colours and how they work. So I'll just pop these out the way and get my first bits out for my card and do a bit of stamping with them first. So just grab the Eureka And I'm going to use the Sparkle All the Way stamp set and coordinating dies. So this was from one of our Christmas ranges, and I think all these detail in these lovely stamps is going to work perfectly with the embossing powders. So, and I'm going to stamp onto vellum just to show you that this works just as well as onto standard cardstock, which I will be doing as well later. So nice piece of vellum, and I'm going to stamp out the 3 larger images here. You do get in this set as well, which is super, super cute, the tiny versions of the baubles, which look beautiful embossed. But this size I really like for cards, but they're also perfect for tags. Oh, my vellum's curling there, must be warm. So earlier I was talking about an anti-static bag. If you haven't done heat embossing before, this is really important to use. It's just a cloth bag with some powder inside, and when you rub it over your paper or card, it just absorbs any moisture, like I say, from fingerprints or anything like that. And also, I don't know why that's curling, how strange. Or flatten it down. And just stops the anti-static bag as well, stops your powder sticking to anywhere you don't want it to. It's okay, because we're going to cut these out anyway, so not to worry. So that ink, that clear embossing powder, this is the Luminosity one that I've just used. Light press. And because the ink is clear, you can't see huge amounts. That's really curled. Excuse me a moment, I'm going to try it on another piece. Just to, I wonder if it's the matte. I haven't got another piece of vellum, but I'll use another piece of white card. But I'll show you the effect. I've done one earlier in vellum, so I'll show you that as well. Never mind. Obviously had a piece with a mind of its own under these warm lights. So yeah, because the ink is clear, you can also just go over a second time, which is why it's perfect for using a stamping tool, because you're not going to miss any bits, but not to worry if you do. So one thing to catch all your powder when you're embossing and you're tipping the powder over, just grab a sheet of copier paper and hold this on. Now I'm going to do 3 separate colours here. So I'm going to do one of the baubles in rosy gold. I must mention a lovely crafter called Adele, who mentioned earlier on she had a play with these at the weekend, and she's bought Tony's new ballerina stamps, and she said this colour looks amazing. I think she posted a picture this morning of the ballet shoes stamp, because she said it's the perfect kind of pinky satiny colour for the ballet shoes. So that's cool. And then silver lining for this next one. You know, the powders, if you haven't done this before, they look pretty dull when you first stamp them out, but then the magic happens when you heat it up and you get that super, super shine. And the last one in the gold. So although they are separate metallics, they coordinate really well. So we've got silver, gold and the pink. So this paper, excess paper, makes it really easy to get that back in. A bit like if you're playing with glitter, treat it like that. What am I saying? Playing, crafting with glitter, aren't we? So get your heat tool nice and hot. The reason for that is then you'll get, the less time the heat spends on the card, the less warp in your card and wave you will get. So just a couple of seconds. We'll heat it up. And then see if we can capture the change. I'll hold it like that. Can you see that shine from the silver? Let's do the gold. That's always seems to shine the most under the camera. See if we can get it on there. There we go. Really cool shine there. And you can always tell in the light, if you've missed a bit, you'll still see the dull powder. You can always go back into it. So there we go. That looks really cool, doesn't it? So we're going to die cut those now. Ready for our card. So in the die packets, you get all the different shapes and sizes, both the large and the small. I'm just using the large ones, so I'll stick to those. And a little bit of low tack tape. This one's quite sticky actually, so I'm just getting a bit more off because I don't want it to pick up that powder. And then we'll have 3 really nice embellishments for our modern Christmas card. But like I say, these are perfect sizes for little tags. You could pop a little hole, some twine or some ribbon and use them for tags for your presents. They'd look really pretty. And then you could emboss or ink them in colours to match your paper. Your Christmas wrapping paper would look cool, wouldn't it? There we go. So just run that through the die cutting machine. While that's going through, let's have a look at the background that they're going to go on. So I've cut a piece of the Botanical Dream paper here from Botanical Dream paper stack. So this is cut from a 12 by 12 and I'm going to pop this on to a top folding card, but I want to use the embossing pen first to add some detail. Just grab my baubles. Okay. So like I say, they would have looked really cool in vellum. You can maybe add some colour if you're just going to do them on white cardstock there, but I will show you the vellum one at the end. So then back to this paper here. So this is the embossing pen. You've got the brush nib, that end, and little bullet nib for detail. So I'm going to start with the brush nib and look at maybe these leaves here and start adding just little flicks. Maybe just where this darker kind of watercolory look is. I just want it to kind of add a bit of detail. Really, really loose. And I'll do a little bit this end as well. Okay, next I'm going to use the bullet end, and these kind of leaves here, I'm going to follow those lines and make them flick up. So you're not going to see anything at the moment because, like the ink pad, this is clear, but this is where we're just deciding really where we want this metallic powder, this super shiny powder to go. So I'm following the kind of little V's. I'm not worried about keeping in the lines, it's just going to look very, very loose and very natural. And you can put whichever powder you want on here for the details. How about maybe, there we go, down the stem there. I think that's enough. So I'm going to add the gold. All over where I put the pen. Now, I didn't use my anti-static bag this time, but for once that was on purpose. So what I want with this look is that it's very, very loose. So I will shake off any excess and give it a little flick, which I find is really useful for getting excess. But I'm really not bothered if there's an odd little bit of powder every now and then, because actually with this kind of loose look on a paper, it looks really cool. And this will work on vellum, papers, card, anything you've got with a pattern on. It's going to come out really nice. So let's heat up again. Let's go in. See if we can get it to pick up these leaves here. There we go, you can see them just turning. Look at that. And it's really taken your papers then to a completely new level. And it only takes a couple of minutes. You might think, is that a bit of a faff? The papers are already lovely, but especially if you're selling your cards. It's really going to make them something special. Nice little bit over there. Okay, look at that. It's really cool. Really nice effect. Right then. So we come back out a little bit and then we can put the card together. So I'm just going to mount this onto the card with some tape. Just got a tape pen this time, but whatever you've got, double-sided tape or wet glue if you need. Just make sure your paper isn't too fine for the wet glue. And I've already cut a sentiment, so we just kind of need to decide where to put the baubles. So I think I'll put them kind of staggered a little bit. I really wish the vellum ones had come out, but I will show you that one after. Yeah, kind of there, I think. So I'll stick those down. You can put them with foam pads if you want, or wet glue. So we've still got a few minutes before the competition closes. So I'll finish this demo and then you can have a look at some more samples from the girls. But if you do want to enter for the freebies, please do comment on the video below. Anything you like. Hope you like the demos and the powders. So what I've also done is cut out some bits of twine. And I'm not going to stick these on because I want to show you the vellum one because it's so much more pretty. But the idea was I was going to stick them on behind like that and then pop these little, pop these little bows on with the sentiment. But I think the one I've done already with the vellum ahead of time, let me show you, because it really, really makes a difference. So let's pop this one out of the way, and there we go. You can see with the vellum and the shine there. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the one with the white, but I would probably have added maybe some more glitter. And I've just done a different sentiment there. Again, white embossed onto black, which is my absolute favourite for doing sentiments in. It's really effective, really simple. So we've done stamping with it, and we've done adding detail with the embossing pen there. So let me show you a few samples from the girls, and then we'll do the drawer. So let me show you these. So just to mention, we have a lovely girl called Gemma Hines, who's been doing a couple of different samples for me for using these powders. So she does these amazing kind of mixed media type projects with stencils and powders and loads and loads of ink. It's really, really cool, this little mini book with all these pockets in. It's really awesome. And then she's combined that with one of our earlier stamps, the, let me think, Calm Circle stamp set, which is really, really nice. This is a little bit of a sneak preview of the next demo that we're doing, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. One from Leanne using gold embossing and the holly stamp. Another one of Leanne's with the relax rectangle, upside down, and a beautiful background there with some watercolours. I've had lots of comments about this on social media. This is what I used with Tony's washi tape. So I will demonstrate it another day, but just to mention the technique that we used on the background here in the last card of just using the brush and the bullet nib to add details. It's exactly the same technique there. I've just concentrated it on the centres. But just to mention, with washi tape, you need to use lots of your anti-static bag because it's really absorbent. Another one of Leanne's there with a beautiful resist in white and watercolour. Lovely, another couple of mixed media ones from Gemma, mixing in with some stamps and using some of the embossing powders for the stamps as well. And last couple for now, really simple, just embossing with some inky backgrounds. Really, really pretty. Oh, got that one upside down. She's done it that way for a change, which is really nice. The nice border and a you did it with the carnation. Lovely. So, just while I get ready for the next demonstration and we do the draw, let's pop to another video and I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Welcome back everybody. I hope you're enjoying it so far. I'm having so much fun with these powders and I know you will too. So before the next demo, just to announce the winner of the prize draw, and it's Elizabeth Williams. So well done Elizabeth. Can't wait to get these out to you and see what you think. I'd love to see something you make. Maybe if you're on social media, feel free to send me some pictures or join the group, the Brushettes group. So to get your prize, what you need to do is you need to email your postal address to info@thirstybrush.co.uk. That's info, I-N-F-O, at thirstybrush.co.uk, and I'll get them out to you. So let's crack on with the second demo so we can get in as much as possible for you. So another bit of stamping to start off with. with the fabulous Special Day stamp, which is these lovely magnolia trees, large and small. So let me, oh, didn't take my stamps out from the last one, naughty naughty. Do make sure you keep your stamps on your carrier sheets because it keeps them really nice and clean and safe. So I've cut my card exactly the same size as my card blank this time, which is one of Tony's top folding. And I just need to decide which way around. So actually I'm going to have it that way, and I'm going to pop it right in the corner for a reason, because we're going to leave the stamps in place and we're going to re-stamp again, which I'll show you. So I'm going to use the larger one. I want it kind of coming off the page a little bit, and then the smaller one, it's going to kind of come in over here a little bit, like that. Which is great. So this is going to be like a resist technique. So we're going to use the white embossing powder and loads of lovely distress ink. So anti-static back again. Like I say, this powder will cling to all those lovely details in the beautiful stamps, but just in case I've got a grubby or oily fingerprint on there, which I normally do because I've normally got my fingers in the biscuit tin, and I'll make sure that I use the anti-static bag. So again, your clear pad, and we'll go over a couple of times. Now I can see when I peel this back where it's gone. It doesn't really pick it up much on the camera, I can just about see, but I always go over again with embossing anyway. You'll notice when you're embossing onto darker colours that you'll be able to see where the ink is wet even though it's clear. There we go. So I'm going to use the white powder, which you won't see much of when you heat, but then as we start to add the ink, it will become apparent. So I've purposely left these stamps in this time, and that will become clear near the end. Get my little bit of paper again. And this time we're using the pure white powder, and it really is pure white. Honestly, these powders have been such a long time in the making and the process for me. There's something I knew I wanted to do as part of the Thirsty Brush range right from the beginning, but obviously wanted to get some stamps out there first, get some designs out there, and build up to these kind of extra things really to make, but they complement all the designs and all the stamps so perfectly. So I don't know whether you can just about see there, but not to worry, because as soon as we put all the distress inks on there, it's going to come alive. Okay, so back to our heat gun. Heat gun is the absolute must-have tool for embossing. Let it heat up again for a few seconds. And you'll be able to tell, it's really hard on camera, I'll try and do this as quick as possible so we get to the exciting bit. But as you're looking at the powder, you will see it go from dull to a really cool shiny. So hard seeing white on white, but it's worth it. I'm just about to see with the light there, yeah. In fact, even white on white is quite nice for background. Say you were making like wedding cards or something, and it would just look like a textured paper if you stamped all over it. It's really quite pretty. But the colours we're going to use next are going to make all this lovely design pop out. So as I say, you'll see it go shiny, and then everything will change. Ooh. Right then, so this is the super cool bit. Whoops. So I'm going to use the same scrap of paper. I'm just going to use the back so my ink doesn't stick to it, and I'm going to use 3 colours of Distress ink, and I'm going to blend them into each other. So I've got 3 different little daubers. So I'm going to start off with the purple, and I'm going to bring it in from this corner across here. So onto my dauber, and I will start off on the paper, and I hold it on the side there because I feel like it gives me more control. And the more we go over where the stamp is, see it start to reveal? It's really, really cool. And all that lovely detail of those beautiful magnolias is just going to pop out now. So I'm thinking about where on my card, probably want it to come back halfway, I think. I'm going to have it in a kind of diagonal so it blends to the other colours. So just keep going. Loads of light circles. You can always add more. If you go straight in with too much onto the middle of your paper, you get that. And then it's really hard to blend that out without losing that circle. Can you see? So the easiest way to do it is start slightly off your page, get your circles going, and then move. And I'm not even the best blender. I think probably Leanne on my design team is probably the best, and Kerry, in fact. And even in fact Gemma, who's joined in today, they're probably all much better at me at inking. But practice does make perfect, definitely. So I want it quite deep at that corner and the edges. A bit more, I think. Getting there. And I'm blending it out to lighter where it's going to start to come into the orange. Great, so let's start with the orange one. I think that was my orange pad. Oh, let me tell you what inks these are in case you've got them at home and you can try. Wilted Violet, Carved Pumpkin is the orange, and Squeezed Lemonade. And these are the Distress inks, not Distress oxides. Although I will be using a little bit of water with it as well towards the end. See, I went straight to the middle there and I've got like a darker bit. It's a bit of do as I say, not as I do, isn't it there? But that's okay, we can keep blending. You do lose it eventually, it just makes it harder work for yourself. And these are colours that you probably wouldn't immediately put together, but I think they look really cool once they're all blended. And I'm going to have yellow in this bottom corner here. Let's get some of the yellow in there. Squeezed Lemonade. From the corner, doing it properly this time. And keep blending over the line where one colour meets the other. So do make sure you've got a piece of paper underneath, because you don't want any of this on your dining room table or your craft table. You'll never get it off. Okay, I'm going to go back in with a bit of purple just to soften that line a little bit more. Okay, so you could keep going as long as you want until you're happy and build it up and build it up. So we can just come out a tiny bit just to see that detail, and then I'm going to actually flick on some water and some paint just to give it an extra bit of texture and dimension, kind of bring those colours together. So a bit of water on a watercolour brush, As I say, these aren't oxides, these aren't the chalky ones, these are the kind of smooth blending ones, but they do still lift out colour a little bit because they're water based. And a tiny bit of kitchen roll or tissue just to dab that out. And then on top of that, I've got some purple watercolour here, and I'm going to splash that on. Now that looks quite dark, but what I'm going to do is lift it out again with the tissue, and it's going to leave some and not the rest of it. Maybe some of this yellow, whoops, over here as well. It's starting to give it a bit more dimension. There we go, that looks really cool. So remember when I left the stamps in the Eureka? So what I want to do is, you can see the stamp has come out really nicely with the white, but I want it to pop even more. So I'm going to go over it again with the white embossing powder. To do that, before I do that, I'm just going to very, very quickly just make sure those bits that I've dampened are dried off. So you see I'm wafting this time. That's another point to make with the embossing powders. Don't waft your heat tool while you're doing embossing powder. Might just keep it here actually rather than messing. So just finished embossing that bit. I do apologise if we had some sound issues there with the microphone, but hopefully we should all be back up and running now sound wise. If you could maybe just pop a comment on and just tell us that you can hear us all okay, that would be lovely, but hopefully it's all sorted. So can I just recap then a couple of bits that I've done before we finish off this card, because I'm not sure at which point we lost you. So we've blended in wilted violet, carved pumpkin and squeezed lemonade with 3 different daubers into each other from the diagonal there on top of the white embossed stamps. Then I've added some water splashes and some watercolour paint splashes and used some tissue powder just to bleach those out. And then because I really wanted that white to pop again, you could still see it really well, but I've kind of double embossed, which means I put my card back in the Eureka in exactly the same position, so it laid over those stamps again, so it makes that embossing double thick and double shiny. Then you don't lose any of the shine from the inks. Perfect. So yeah, I do apologise about that. I hope it's all okay now and everyone's saying they can hear us. Fab. So let's pop it on a card blank. So a variation of this could be, I stamped onto, oh my tape thing's going, it's all going wrong today, isn't it? It's all right, we can wing it. So a variation could be, if you stamped onto a black piece of card with the clear, you would get black come through there as well. So you could do that variation maybe. And of course the metallics would look absolutely awesome on there. And the favourite sentiment from this stamp set is the hello there. And I'm just going to mount that on with a couple of foam pads just to give it, because that's a 1 layer card pretty much, I just want to give it that tiny bit of dimension. I'm absolutely loving my ink blending at the moment, and it goes so well with embossing powders. It's really cool. So just looking for a tiny, these little tiny ones. These are the ones I can never pick up. So the set that you get the pure white in, the trio of those powders, you get the True Black, Pure White and Crystal Clear, which is crystal clear, but because my name means clear in French, I thought we could call it Crystal Clear. So that's the second card we did. Let's get back out the first one as well so we can see the two together. There we go. So we've got all the 3 metallics, the gold digger, the silver lining and the rosy gold on the vellum with detailed background there. And then on the other one we've got white embossing with an inky background, and both of them have got white embossing with the sentiments. So I hope that's been useful for you to see maybe some different techniques using embossing powders. There'll be loads more because I could go all day showing you these powders, but I hope that was fun. And don't go anywhere, there is one last little video, and again congratulations to Elizabeth. I'll see you next week. Bye.